Hello, and good time zone. And what is up, gamers? Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Hello, hello. I hope you're ready for paint, because that's what I'm gonna do today. Oh, that's a really messy intro. Anyways, hello. Hi. Hope you had good weekends. It's lovely to see you. It's lovely to be back. We have... Oh, Q2's has written a new intro for me. Hello, Q2's. It's lovely to see you. And it reads as follows. Hi, Sammy. Hi, hello. Here's your intro for today. I'm gonna swap over to the camera so you can see me soon. Say goodbye to the starting soon music. And hello to our artwork for today. Anyways. Excuse me. Welcome, gamers. Hi, hello, how are you? I have a cup of insert kind/brand of tea. Here, am I supposed to tell you what it is now? This is chamomile with a hint of cinnamon. And I will now take a sippy. Yum, yum, delicious. Oh, hello, Turnip. Thank you very much for the lurk. It's lovely to see you. Thank you for the lurkies. I hope you have a lovely, lovely lurk. Thank you, thank you. Hope you are all doing wonderful. My name is Sammy Kelch, fantastic artist, wonderful person, beloved by this wonderful corner of the internet, and a certified cutie patootie. Hey, stop it! This is making me sound way too self-congratulatory. But also, thank you. We will paint some watercolor today. That is correct. May I know my moderator/spouse looks particularly handsome today. That's true. Let's get started. Shablagoo. Not too sure about the shablagoo, but I figured we'd try something new today. I don't know what that means. I hope I didn't say anything rude. Or if I did, I hope it was funny. Anyways, hi. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. I am having, not to TMI, but I'm having a mild reaction to something. You know when you get like an itch that feels like it's not just like on your skin, it's like your nerves are on fire. Yeah, I've got that just on my wrists for some reason. So I am going to put a little bit of extremely gentle moisturizer on them in the hopes that it like maybe calms that down a little bit. I don't know. I would consider this a negative reaction because it's very unfun. Hopefully I'm not experiencing a vitamin deficiency or something and my nerves aren't working properly. That's probably what's happening. Anyways, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Rude of your skin, says Q2's. My skin is very reactive. It has been known to be mad at a lot of stuff. And sometimes stuff that I've been fine with for a really long time, like I'm swapping out my regular shampoo for a new shampoo for a little while because I think my regular shampoo, after having used it for like 2 or 3 years, it's decided that it doesn't like just parts of my skin. So that's fun. Hopefully that helps me hopefully that's it and I can just change shampoos and I'm fine. I don't know yet. It's only been like a week. But annoyingly, the replacement shampoo doesn't make my hair doesn't look or feel as nice. Because this shampoo is really good for my hair specifically and I don't want to have to stop using it. So yeah. Anyways. I don't know. My immune system is very stressed and it interprets things, very normal things, as like threats on the regular these days, apparently. It's just failing me. Oh well. Shall we start with something really dramatic? Shall we start with something really dramatic on stream today? Because I was thinking I could potentially, like, you know, do a little sketch out of the little scene that I want to put in here. But before I do that, I could just take the masking fluid off this and make it look real pretty and stuff. Like, there's nothing stopping me from doing it at this point. It's been dry for days. So why don't I just get to doing some peelies and seeing how this actually, because right now I'm gonna bring this in close so you can see. Right now I feel like space, like the night sky just looks a little diseased. I don't love that. But I'm hoping that when we remove the masking fluid that that it'll look nicer. That it'll look more, hopefully it'll look kind of like a night sky and not just diseased. One never knows with such things. But that's the fun of it. Anyways, how's everyone's weekend been? I hope that you had good weekends. I did have a good weekend, in fact. My moderator / spouse, who I love dearly, decided very impromptu and unplanned, why don't we go out for a succulent Japanese meal for lunch on Saturday? And so we went to a restaurant and we sat down and we had like restaurant Japanese food, which I rarely get to have because it's very different from the Japanese food that I would have like as home cooking. So that was really nice. And I enjoyed it very much. Okay, so this night sky looks bizarre, but I think with a bit, it's not done yet, so I think with a bit of additional work we can definitely sell it. But right now it looks a little bit weird. But it looks less diseased than it did before, so that's good. But the way that the paint has sat has given it this like really intensive texture. And I don't know whether or not I think it's neat, but I don't know whether or not it sells it as like a night sky or if it's just kind of weird. But I think when we give this a little bit of extra work, give them like the crescent moon a little bit more definition, that kind of thing. Wow, jealous, says Q2s. Can your moderator / spouse be my moderator / spouse? I'm tempted to tell you no, but I mean, I guess you'd have to ask him yourself, and I would be very sad, because I would miss him. But obviously that's you know, he's a human person and he can make his own choices about whether he wants to move away. But I sure wish he wouldn't. Anyways, now I'm sad. Anywho, hello Joe, welcome in. How's it going? It's lovely to see you. Hi. I should probably get my paints out so we can actually paint with them. I've got these little palette doodads, the little, half pans, have been sitting here for like weeks, because I really want to make a frog and toad palette. I think that would be so much fun. I'm in a real like frog and toad enjoyer era, because frog and toad are delightful, and I really like the sort of color scheme that's used in frog and toad as well. It's very brown and brownish green and kind of centered around those colors. It's quite a limited palette, actually. I wouldn't limit myself quite that much, but to kind of have a palette that's centered around sort of like brown and greenish brown, I think would be really fun and interesting. Anyways, hello, Cursed of Bees. Welcome. Good morning to you. It's nighttime. The sun's fully gone down here, which is delightful. Then I'm gonna open up my tittle paints here, which again, the color names, I don't get it. Maybe, you know, the thing is they call this Shire Blue and it's like the same color as this matte, which is like green. It's so green. This is Shire Blue, unadulterated. It's green. But maybe it's like, you know, it's blue within the context of the other colors in the Shire range specifically. Because this is the only Shire color that I have. I should get the full Shire set, and see just how Hobbit core it is. I'm assuming based on the name that it's Hobbit core, but whom's just to say? These paint pans are sticking together a little bit, so that's really fun. Yeah, Tals, hello, good evening to you, and welcome on in. Hello. The forest blue is rather green also, says Cursed Jar of Bees. I'm not surprised. I mean, I guess forests tend to be quite green spaces, so, and I guess they couldn't call every greenish color, you know, if like forest yellow is also greenish, And forest blue is also greenish. They couldn't really call them all forest green, because that would get confusing. If you had, like, forest green yellow, forest green blue. It's, yeah, like, I get it from that perspective, but also just taking it in isolation as a color, it's like, this is not blue. This is not literally it's a really, really good shade match to this green. Forest green number 2, says Q2's. Forest green 2 _ final. Hey, don't you call out my document naming conventions like that. Is that like an every artist does that? You know, where you have like, okay, you know, you have like document name, and then you're like, actually, I'm gonna try something different than document name _ final. And then document _ final 2. Forest green 2 _ final _ version 3 _ for real, says Q2's. Yes, exactly, yes. Oh, Biddle boy. I wish I could say I did that with, like, my writing documents, but unfortunately I have the writing habits of an absolute flipping gremlin until I am basically at this work of writing is complete, and it's time to do, like, a final pass for, like, you know, like, spelling and grammar, absolutely making 100% sure. Until that stage, it does not get planted into, like, a genuine document. 90% of the time, I'm writing in an email draft, or I'm writing on the notes app of my phone when I'm supposed to be falling asleep. So, oh gosh, says Q2's, my bachelor thesis was cursed with the final revisions. Every time you think, okay, it's done, I'm done, we're good to go, we're ready, and no. But wait, there's more. No. Why? Can we just make it stop? Please and thank you. Okay. I do want to think about this piece because I want to vaguely sketch out the little scene that we want. I don't think I want to improvise it, because if I improvise it, and I'm scared that, like, the composition's gonna look wonky and weird and bad. But we have an interesting shape in which to draw here, and I feel like we need to try and capitalize on that, I guess. But how shall I do? So okay, first of all, if I just nestle a little, like, cottagey situation sort of towards the I don't think you can see what I'm sketching at all. I'm nestling a little cottagey situation sort of up here, nestling it into a little sort of meadow hill something situation type thing. And I think I want it to be on this side. I think it makes sense if it's on this side. I don't know why. Maybe because the spout is over here, so it's kind of balanced. Because this is going to be somewhat of a focal point, I guess, for the little drawing. Thus, and I think for funsies, I kind of want to have this side kind of obscured by some plant life. I think that would be fun. I don't like that shape, though. I try not to... I should have done this earlier today, but I was really busy and also really tired. But I feel like I should have done this earlier today. Yeah, I feel like a bigger lump feels better. But I do like the little lumpy bumpy shapes, I think, are pleasant and pleasing. So hopefully that's all right. Or do I want that much of it to be yeah, no, that's fine. That's all right. And then I think I'm having thinky thoughts. I'm having thinky thoughts. Do I want to put a little like front porch on this, or is that just making it more complicated for myself than I really need to? It probably is. But on the other hand, that might be really cute. I'm so I'm so indecisive today. I don't know. I'm gonna pop some little semi-obscured windows along the sides here, and I want them to be. I'm giving them little curvatures because I think it's cute. Making it like a happy little cottage. I don't know if this is a cottage. Oh no, that cottage just looks like it has a very happy little face. It's like, ah, hello, hi there. That was not my intention. I don't think that's going to persist until it's done. But now I don't know. And then one big old window up top here. In sort of the loft, which is maybe where they sleep. As long as it's a happy face, as tells. Oh, this is a very happy little cottage, for sure, for sure. Most definitely, 'tis a happy place. I will pop a little. Actually wondering if the door is I think, is the door too... Maybe the door needs to be bigger. I think maybe the door needs to be bigger, because otherwise the windows feel like they're too tall. So the door is getting a slight enlargement here. Get taller, damn it. Which honestly has just made the face in the door in the front of the house even more deranged. Also now it has a third eye. So that's fun. I don't know what I'm doing. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. We're gonna need to have some like foregroundy business anyways. Kind of like coming here, and then maybe like that. Just you know, some good gubbins. There's like a path leading away from the house, but you can't really see much of it. And maybe there's a little I'm gonna put like a little pile of logs for like wood fire next to the house. I'm gonna pop in a little chimney up the top, and then maybe get some hills going kind of in the background behind it, I guess. And the rest of it, I feel like I can just kind of improvise. I want some like big sort of foregroundy flowers happening up here as well. Hopefully that'll all be, you know, cute and pleasant. But ultimately, I mean, what is this? It's improvised shapes and stuff in it. So maybe if there's a hill behind us, like here, and then like another hill kind of behind that one. But other than that, we can maybe see some sky. I think it would be nice if we could see some sky. I think that would be good. Yeah, I think that's a good, pleasant starting point. So, I haven't decided what time of day it is though. At what point of the, maybe like a nice afternoon herbal tea, maybe made with some of the wildflowers that we can see in the little scene. Oh, would that be evocative and pleasant and cute? I feel like that could be evocative and pleasant and cute. I think / hope it might be. Can certainly give it a go. I might pop. How am I gonna? Oh, this. You are a pleasant and cute. No, you are a pleasant and cute, and thank you. That's very sweet. But yeah, I'm trying to think if I did that much else this week. I didn't do a lot this weekend. I was gonna get some sewing done earlier today, and I did not have time. And this is worrying to me because I'm not going to have as much time this week to schedule in, like, my current raft of regular sewing sessions of the, like, sewing project that I've been working on. So I don't know if I'm going to have to attempt to do, like, 2 in a day later this week to make up for it. I guess we shall see if I have time and inclination. But I really don't want to fall off of this project. But I also just did not have time today because of reasons. Most of the reasons being I was exhausted and had too much else to on my plate. But so it goes. Never mind. I did get some sketching done yesterday. I got one sketch done, and I started a second sketch on something that I can't share yet because it's for a larger scale collaborative project. I can tell you that they're 2 animation frames, but I can't share them yet. They're also not done. I also haven't decided what color scheme I'm going to use to paint them in yet, so we shall see. Anyways, oh my goodness, Q2 is on a 15 stream steak. Thank you so much for the 15 steaks. Have a sip of tea for each steak if you want to. I shall do my best. Here is a mint tea. Okay. More sips. I was trying to sip as quietly as possible so I didn't make a whole bunch of, like, slurping and swallowing noises, because I don't think that's pleasant ASMR for y'all, because I have a no music stream. And I very specifically have a no music stream because, like, I enjoy the music on other people's streams, but I also know that some people are really particular about, like, music, and I don't always like other people's choices of background music. And so I think it's kind of nice to have a space where there isn't that, wherein if you want, like, to listen to music while the stream is happening, you can play whatever music you want. You can change the vibe of this. You can it's a fully immersive experience. You can personalize the vibe of your stream. You know, because I feel like the vibe of, like, whatever it is that I'm doing is going to feel different if you're listening to, like, Brian Eno's music for airports versus if you're listening to, like, I don't know, Pantera. Why were those my 2 examples? I don't know. Neither of those are choices I would necessarily make to listen to along with an art stream. Maybe music for airports? I don't know. I never really got into Pantera, the metal band, but my older brother was. So I'm familiar with their oeuvre. Anyways, Sledge is sticking out his Pantera CD. Do you have any of their albums, babe? I have seen. Seriously? Oh, that's so fun. Were they good? Was it good? Did you have fun? They were a bit shit, honestly, he says. Hilarious. Well, in that case, you don't need to dig out the CD. It's fine. I'm more of a prog rock enjoyer anyways. Sherma singing on loop, says Q2s. I would love that. In fact, you know, I will say, for anyone who's not familiar with the game of Silk Song, beware spoilers beyond this point for just a moment. I will wave my hand around on screen while I'm talking about spoilers, so if you want to mute it because you haven't played the game and you don't want to know anything about it, when I stop waving my hand, there will no longer be spoilers. Anyways, I have had the Sherma song on a loop in my head for, weeks now. It just won't stop. It's just continuously in there. It's just in there forever. It's amazing. Anyways, hello Lux, welcome in. Spoilers are done. It's snowing, says Lux. Oh, I've seen. I was speaking with my family yesterday, who live in a similar geographic region to you, as you are aware, because I think you've met my parents, and they sent me pictures where there's snow in the background, and I was like, damn, that will not be us at potentially any point here in the UK, because it's been... Anyways, But yes, I hope you are coping all right with the snow. I hope everything's fine. Um, and I hope that you're staying nice and comfy cozy. Um, and you've been in their driveway. This is true. Um, there's actually some kind of hyperpolar It's a vortex. It's actually colder in Kentucky. That is wild. That is wild. That is wild. I've never been to Kentucky. I wonder if it's fun. I don't know. I feel like parts of it are fun. Um, but yeah, I was hearing about like I didn't realize that it was a vortex, which makes it sound way more exciting than it is and less like annoying. Um, but it's because one of my younger family members back home um has a special event to go to for like a school related thing um that's at like a museum, but it's a bit of a drive to get to there. And they're they're worried that they're not going to be able to drive out because the weather has gone all blah, 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 and I don't know if they've actually had a chance to fit the winter tires on the car yet. So it's not the Louvre, says Lux. No, no. Though that being said, did you see that one viral photo that circulated with like the police cops outside the Louvre, and then this young man who's like dressed like a 1930s detective or something, and they were like, "Who is that guy? Who is that guy?" And it turns out he's like just a teenaged boy from a small town outside of Paris who happened to be there to go to the museum that day with like his mom. And then they rocked up and were just disappointed that it was closed because they hadn't heard that there had been like a, a heist of like one of the most famous museums in the world. Um, and he just happened to be walking past when like some press photographer took a photo. But he's just like a teenage boy who just dresses like that because he thinks it's cool. And I love that. I love that so much. He just everyone in the fedora, yeah, that everyone thought was AI. Turns out it's just a French teen. Yeah, it's just a French teen who is like into like detective novels and stuff, and just dresses like that, and was just dressed like that on a nice day out with like his mom. I hope they still had a fun day. I hope even though the museum was closed, they just, went somewhere else and maybe went to like a different smaller museum, had like a nice lunch or something and then went home and then found out like 5 days later from like a text from his friend. It's like, this has like millions of views. And he's like, oh, okay, well. Oh, that's a vortex. Lux has shared a vortex. Thank you. Anyways, and now it's not working. Let me copy Twitch. Cooperate. Anyways, but yeah, I just thought it was really delightful. I don't know. I hope that little boy has a nice day. And and I'm sorry for my cough. Anyways, ooh, it's the okay. Hold on. Can I get this to work? Moment, chat, moment. Where is the show and tell screen? Where is the show and tell screen? Hello, there's the show and tell screen. Moment. Bear with. Okay, there we go. All right. Anyways, this isn't the weather vortex. And also to anyone experiencing inclement weather, please stay cozy and warm. This is my Instagram page, where you can see like art and stuff that I post. This is my most recent posting. This is Fredward, and I hope you like him. You can invite him into your home. Anyways, I also updated my shop, which is why this is a post. And this is my shop, where you can find all kinds of neat things what I do. If you like my art, you can buy it. I'm going to put a link to my shop in the chat, because I'm trying to be better at telling people I have a shop. Anyways, but that's not what we're here for. But I did just recently update my shop, and it includes a new super limited edition hand-painted print, which is going like hotcakes, so like get in there if you want to. And also some Star Trek fan art because I'm a big massive nerd. Anyways, this is the weather problem. So some cold waves are hitting this area, as you can see. Specifically, there's this like, I can see the sort of area towards like the middle, sort of at the bottom of the middle blob there. That's kind of greenish. I think that's that bit. Oh my god, the cow says the cow is a portrait of a friend of mine who lives on my desk. I'll show you her in a minute. Now, kids, where do we think the problem is? It's me. The problem is me. Anyways, Stay Cozy and Warm by Sammy Art, yes. I mean, obviously, if you have to choose between paying your heating bills and buying artwork, pay your heating bills first. But if you have a little bit left over and you're like, man, I really want a bookmark that has books painted on it, I can do that for you. Anyways. And yes, I did paint Quoto. Anyways, best Quarkanoto episode is the one where they have to climb the mountain and the weather is inclement. It all circles back. There you go. Buy Sammy's art, and if it gets cold, burn it for warmth. Lux, you joke, but I have two very densely packed boxes of greeting cards that a friend of that I like licensed to a friend of mine who owned a bookshop. He then retired from that business and just gave me the surplus stock of those cards. So I just have them in my house, but unfortunately, they use art that I made like 10 years ago and is entirely based on classic Doctor Who, and I don't really feel like selling those in my shop anymore because I don't think they're really indicative of like my artistic vision and skill these days. So I am genuinely tempted to just like pulp them down with like a blender and use them to remake cool artisan paper. I'm genuinely tempted. Because, I tried to sell them as, like, bundles, and I sold, like, 4. And by my contemporary metrics, I do not consider the art to be good. I might be wrong, because obviously it's me reevaluating my own art from, like, gazillions of years ago. But, apparently, okay, you do not want hundreds of them, though, Lux. I don't think you want hundreds of them. I mean, that would make free or cheap wallpaper. That would be very expensive to ship. But I could send you, like, 4 if you want. Artisan paper would be fun, though. Artisan paper would be fun. But basically, because they were greeting cards that came with envelopes, I've just been stealing the envelopes from those. So if you receive an order from me that comes in an orange envelope, just know that those orange envelopes are stolen from the greeting cards that I have a massive surplus of. So yeah, anyways, do you follow there's a hot French guy that makes artisan paper? No, I don't. What's his username and on what platform? Because I would be very interested to watch like one person make artisan paper and then think that I know how to do it. That would be very fun for me. Anyways, that art will be worth a ton already. 10-year-old is vintage. I don't think... Now, there's 10-year-old that's vintage, and then there's 10-year-old that's just rotten. That's the difference. I mean, if I really want to embarrass myself, I can probably dig some 10-year-old artwork out of my, like, out of the internet for you. If you really wanted to see what my 10-year-old artwork looks like. I could actually more than 10 years old. Probably more like 2010-ish, so like 15 years? Jeez. This stuff is vintage. But make us feel better about our own art. Yes, exactly. This is so embarrassing for me. I'm so embarrassed. The things I do for y'all. This is embarrassing. Okay. Alright. Just looking for it hurts. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, let me see if I can find something of an appropriate vintage that is of a Doctor Who. Okay, here's one. Hold up. Can I... Will that open image in new tab? There we go. Okay, that'll work. I'm pre-embarrassed. Oh no. Oh no. Also, yeah, I used to take a pretty intensive interest in classic Doctor Who, and then I like stopped really taking an interest in Doctor Who more or less at all. Like I still like it, but I haven't watched any of the new stuff since like I think partway into Jodie Whittaker's first season, because there was an episode that made me really mad, and I was like, okay, if this show is making me mad, I need to go do something else with my life. And so I just went and did other things with my life and continued to like other stuff instead. So it goes. That's fine, right? Anyways, oh no, okay, hold up. This one's funny. Okay, alright. Okay, oh no. So, um, watch it still be way better than our current art. No. No. Um, you can treat yourself to Hot French Paperman afterwards. I will probably watch Hot French Paperman um, after stream, but I will save this link so I can do so. Thank you. Um, but, okay. So, you know what my art looks like these days? Well, guess what? Here's what it used to look like. If you don't know classic Doctor Who, this is Barbara and Ian from, like, the first season or two, of the program. They're delightful and I like them. So there's that. And they're in black and white because the show was in black and white. This, as you can very obviously tell, is also from the First Doctor era, but I got creative and painted it in color. Oh man. Also, the paper I was painting on in this period was really bad. Like, it was bad paper, too. Like, there was a period of time where I just got a thing of, like, those, like, index cards that are lined on one side. I would just paint on the opposite side because I didn't want to have to go to the art store and, like, buy paper because I was shy and it's embarrassing. And then there was this, and if you've seen any of Tom Baker's, you might be able to guess which one this is from. Oh my god, Hartnell, says Lux. Hell yeah! You were super prolific when you first started too, says Cursed Jar of Bees. I have so much bad art lying around Cursed Jar of Bees, yes. So yes, I agree. Like, same. But anyways, this was the hand of thingy with Sarah Jane and her. Totally fabulous. I love the wardrobe journey of Sarah Jane. From like the 70s of Doctor Who, because she goes from being dressed like a genuinely sensible like woman with a job to wearing, like, the more time she spends away from Earth and away from her job and traveling around with Tom Baker, the more she just ends up looking fanciful and ridiculous, which is very funny and very fun. Anyways, not to start talking about classic Doctor Who, because to be perfectly honest, I don't know, it's all a blur to me at this point. I haven't watched any of it in forever. Yeah, that scarf is amazing, says Cursed Jar of Bees. Thank you. I tried my best. Anyways, that's a semi-random sampling of artwork of mine from like 10 years ago. So now you know about that. I'm sorry. Anyways, I love me some John Pertwee too. I think Pertwee's era might be one of my favorites. I don't know. But like, if you were to ask, okay, one time I was coming back to the UK after being at a Doctor Who convention abroad. Again, this is like 10 years ago. And the man at customs at like passport control was like, "Oh, you were at a Doctor Who convention? Who's your favorite Doctor?" And I was like, is there a wrong answer to this? Are you gonna not let me? Oh yeah, he was like, "I'm gonna not let you in if you say the wrong answer." And so I was like, Tom Baker? And he's like, "It's the right answer!" And he let me in. And it's Tom Baker isn't my favorite Doctor, actually. I'm sorry, but he's not. Partly I had to carry the entire series. They had so much to do with no budget, and it was all up to the characters. Oh, Lux, do you remember the episode where there's, like, this inflatable plastic chair that then, like, attacks and kills a guy? But you can tell the guy is, like, having to sort of manipulate the plastic chair to make it look like it's attacking him, but he's obviously just, like, pulling on it so that it's all collapsing on him. It was so funny. But, like, here's the thing. We didn't care. We didn't care that the budgets were bad. That's part of the charm. I know that, like, there was the whole thing with, like, Doctor Who and the Disney merger, and then Disney has ended its partnership with Doctor Who after the 2 seasons that they did with Nshutigatwa, and, I was hearing something about, like, what the budgets were for these episodes, and I'm like, that's where you're going wrong, y'all! That's where you're going wrong. You don't need a budget that big for Doctor Who. You need, like... you need, basically, a team of production assistants who used to work on Blue Peter and therefore know how to do crafts with nothing but, like, you know, some toilet rolls, a little bit of sticky back plastic, PVA glue, and, like, simple children's acrylic paint, and manage to turn it into looking like an unconvincing but very silly looking alien. Come on. Like, best Who is cheap Who, says Lux. Yes, exactly. I want lower budget TV. I don't know if that sounds stupid, but I don't need all of my TV to be prestige movie budgets. Give me more episodes with lower budgets. That's what I want. Anyways, I think Tenet Era had it right with the correct mix of practical and effects. Yes. And some of it was still, like, cheesy and tacky. Some of it, like, a lot of it looked really, really good. But a lot of it was just cheesy and tacky. And that's fine. Because that's the kind of show it's supposed to be. Anyways. Oh. Lux says that one TNG episode where they're stuck in that rift. And Crusher keeps knocking over the glass, except the one part she had to fully force it off. Yes, exactly. There you go. The adipose, cheesy, but it's supposed to be. I cosplayed as an adipose once. If you don't know what an adipose looks like, it's this cute, cuddly little thing that's about this big, that's just sort of like a little white blob with little chubby arms and legs and a little happy face. I cosplayed as one of those by just... I got an oversized white sweatshirt, basically. A set of white gloves, white shoes... white leggings. I painted a big, appropriate-looking face on the tummy of the shirt. And then I just stuck, like, a white headband on over my hair. And I went out looking like that. And it was one of my favorite cosplays I've ever done. I got asked for so many photos at that event. Because people seem to really be into it. And then the next day, someone showed up in, like, a full screen-accurate, like, mascot costume version of the adipose, and I'm like, well, I'm glad I wore mine yesterday. Because otherwise, I'd look like an idiot. Great, I'm literally an adipose every day, says Lux. Me too! Yay! I'm gonna sip my beverage. But yeah, that's the thing. I think if you forget that, like... your cheesy sci-fi show is supposed to be a bit cheesy and try to take itself too seriously, you're going to find yourself in a situation where it just doesn't hit right. Because it doesn't want to be taken that seriously. Where the hell are my brushes? Where the hell are my brushes? Oh, they're hiding at the back of the anana. They're hiding at the very back of the anana, but I need this bad boy. Because I need to decide what colors I want to paint. Anyways, thank you for that segment, which I like to call, complaining about TV shows I don't watch anymore. Yay! It's one of those things where, like, even when it's like, you know, I really should catch up on that show, I really do want to watch that show, I have this thing where, like, sometimes I really want to watch a thing, sometimes I have the free time to watch the thing, but then it feels too much like too much of a demand to actually do it, and then I can't do it. I don't want to do it anymore. Even though I want to, but I don't want to do it, right? That's when I end up being like, oh, I don't have time to watch any new TV shows. Do you want to know what I had on as background noise while I was working earlier today? My third viewing of this 4-hour video review of the, like, Disneyland Star Wars hotel. Which I've seen twice before. I know what happens in this review, but I'm watching that again instead of, like, a new show or something. Why? I don't know. Fun, I guess? Anywho, I can't decide what background colors I want any of these things to be, which is, kind of slowing me up a little bit, I think. Because I would like it to feel, you know, kind of harmonious and put together, but I don't want it to feel like monocolored either. Curstar of B says, I've gotten to the age where I just have a news app on the TV running in the background that I don't actually watch. I think TV is too passive, and I get bored with it. That's fair. That's fair. I do like a bit of TV. I mean, I am currently on a rewatch of Deep Space Nine that I've wanted to do for a really long time, and I'm rewatching it while I sew. So I give myself 45 minutes of sewing time in a day, and that is the time that I watch Deep Space Nine, which, A, means that I can watch Deep Space Nine without feeling like I should be doing something more productive with my time, and B, it actually forces me to get the task done. Last thing I loved was The Last of Us, says Cursed RFBs. Ah, yes, another one I have not seen. In fact, I think someone sent me, like, the one episode. There was, like, one episode that they were like, you have to see this episode. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I really want to watch that. And you know what I did? I didn't do it. I did not watch it. Not because I didn't want to, but because it was like, oh, this feels like homework. Oh, no. Always time for DS9, says Lux. Yes, exactly. Have I seen it, like, many times before? Yes. Yes, of course I have. Am I, like, kind of reviewing it this time? Also, yes. Which is also really fun, because I've never done that with a DS9 before. And oh, biddle boy, do I have opinions. It's being a good time. What colors do I want to make the things? What colors do I want to make the things? I don't know. I think, because this is kind of green and blue already, I kind of want to keep things in somewhat more of like a cool range, I think. Like, generally, I think that might be nice. But then we've got, like, these bits that are, like, brown. So now I don't know. But I think I decided that I want it to be like an afternoon cup of tea. So maybe I can start with the sky. I can have the sky be kind of like a greenish blue. We can do that. So I'm going to drop down a little bit of violet and then add a little bit of teal. But it should probably be fairly light because, again, it's the daytime. Anyways, like a gray-green. Yeah. I forget you do things on this stream other than yap. Sometimes I do, Lux. Sometimes I forget I do other things on this stream too. So don't worry about it. Technically I am here to paint. But if not so much painting gets done, that's pretty par for the course for an art stream generally, I think. So, like, don't sweat it. It's fine. It's fine. Maybe if I kind of play in, like, sort of the green to brown space, but going a little bit into this sort of, like, tealy bluey situation, that could be alright. Anyway, that sky's actually a little light. I'm gonna add a little bit more color to it. Anyway, can I be gay and emotional? Of course. Of course. Of course you can. I so wish you and Sludge lived here or I there so we could do gay culture things together and be old cranky people. That would be super nice. We are coming back to Canada next spring, hopefully. So we'll be in the vicinity for a few weeks then. Just a heads up. For anyone who wants to, like, preemptively leave at that point. So you don't have to be anywhere near me. That's fair. We must do things. We must. 100%. That would be nice. Anyways. Things that do not revolve around Pearson. Yes. Jam!
Attention.
Twitch user Sammy
Hello?
Cash.
Choppers.
Hello, Jam. Oh, no. Oh, hello, Jam. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? What did you get up to today? It is lovely to see you, and welcome on in. Let me get a shout out for Jam in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, Q2s. Hello, Jam. Hello, Kirsty. Hello. Shout out for James B. Bear in the chat if you're not familiar with Jam. You should correct that. Welcome in, bees. I hope you had a wonderful stream. It's lovely to see you. Welcome on in. Hello, everyone. For anyone who is unfamiliar with me, my name is Twitch user Sammy Kelsh. I'm a variety streamer. I'm doing paintings right now. Here's the other one that we're tacitly working on. I do cozy art streams on Mondays and Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Fridays, and every once in a while on a Thursday if I'm feeling extra spicy. Today we are painting two of my favorite things, coffee and tea. Hello?
Oh hell yeah, luxury gay space communist just subscribed.
Sledge, thank you so much for gifting us up to Lux. Lux, enjoy your emotes and stuff. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That is incredibly sweet and kind. Oh my goodness gracious. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Anyways, hello. Jam, I hope that your stream was good. It's lovely to see you and your wonderful people. I have been ranting about TV and not doing a lot of painting, but I did just start painting. And we're technically just over an hour into stream, but I did start painting, and I feel a little bit proud of that. This is a teapot that has a landscape emerging from it, which is extremely normal of me. And then this is a coffee mocha pot that has a night sky emerging from it that is very unfinished, which is also extremely normal of me because, you know, sometimes I like an evening cup of coffee, and that's the only reason that I need for doing such things. Anyways, I should perhaps introduce... Oh, geez, hold up. I should perhaps introduce not my terrible old Doctor Who artwork, because you don't want to see that. But we were talking about my terrible old Doctor Who artwork earlier, which I'm going to not share. But Jam says stream was good. I also took an hour to start painting today. Isn't that just like the standard schedule of an art stream? I feel like that's the standard schedule of an art stream. I mean, it is basically the reason that I managed to get any painting done on an art stream day oftentimes. Sometimes it's all the painting I get done in a week, but oh boy. What? Hello? Hype train? Thank you very much for the hype train, beautiful people. Thank you. Please enjoy the train. I'm so glad that alert is working, because it wasn't for a while. Ads are trying to run. Let me snooze them. Go away, thank you. I've snoozed ads for 5 minutes. What the hell was that, says Lux. That was there's a hype train. There's a hype train. Thank you so much for the hype train. Jam, as always, if there's anything that you would like to share, I'd be more than happy to do so. We are an art tax optional stream, but I'm more than happy if you have something you were working on that you want to share, or if you want me to go do a little creepy creep on your socials, I'd be happy to do any of the above. Or if you just want to like chill and dip, that's also good. It's all good. Let me get another shout out for Jam in the chat. If you're not following James B. Bear, what are you doing? Get on that. Jam's delightful and lovely and a wonderful person, and I have no idea if that shout out worked. No, it didn't, because I did it wrong. Because I get confused.
Shaw!
Tals, thank you very much for the Shaw. Thank you. Hornet's enjoying a nice cup of coffee. Love that for her. This is a, I didn't actually realize until just now that I've actually made both of these like stovetop conveyance methods for their respective beverages. Because you do this one on the hob, and this one you do on the hob. Because it's very much not an electric kettle. I didn't intend for that, but that's just how it shook out. Anyways, stovetop method, best method, said Luck. I do like the stovetop method. I do. I think it's pleasant. I think it yields a pleasant result. I recently bought an analog kettle. Nice. I think we would have an analog kettle if we didn't live in the UK where the electric kettle boils real fast, because it is genuinely faster and cheaper to boil a kettle here. That is an interesting thing. In Canada and also the United States, it takes so much longer to boil a kettle because of the way like the electricity levels work. I don't really know how that works. I'll get a pic of today's painting, says Jam. Hell yeah, I would love to see it. If you want to whisper it to me, I would love to share it with the class. But yeah, it's something I didn't realize until I'd like lived in the UK for a while and went back to visit Canada. But I was like, damn, okay, actually, it takes so much longer for a kettle to boil in Canada than it does in North America. This is why one uses a microwave. Likewise, also Japan has the same settings as North America does in terms of like whatever you call it, like the electricity level. So it likewise takes a really long time to boil a kettle. This is why one uses a microwave. Yeah, this is why people microwave their water for tea in, like, America, which I didn't grow up with. I grew up with using either a stovetop kettle or, like, an electric kettle that just took 10 minutes to come to a boil. But I still don't really... Yeah, that's a uniquely US thing. The microwaving of water for tea, I still don't agree with and I don't believe in, and it feels unsafe to me, honestly. I don't like it. I've never heard of a Canadian that microwaves their water. Like, I understand why, because it takes like 3 times as long for the kettle to boil, but oh my god. I feel like you're not having the same control in terms of water temperature. My Canadian father microwaves his tea water, says tell. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. I had absolutely no idea. That's wild. But it is because... where's my chat? I can't see it. There's so many things on my screen right now, I can't see chat. Anyways, but it's because an electric kettle isn't a standard part of American kitchens. I think that's just because your electricity is so slow. I think that's just because the American electricity is so slow. But yeah. Otherwise, it might be. But also, my moderator slash spouse, that voltage, that's the word I was looking for, is 120 in North America and 240 in the States, which understandable for why things work at different speeds. Like, you can understand why. I have some artwork from Jam to look at, so let me grab that so we can take a little look-see, if I can. I'm futzing around in the background to get a tab open for it. There we go. Okay. Alright, hopefully this is working. Oh, that's so pretty! Some absolutely lovely poppy florals here. Let's take a little look-see. Very seasonally appropriate. I love it. I love it. I love it. And you should love it too. Look how beautiful these are. I love the colors that you've chosen. The background is so soft, so they really, like, pop. But in a really beautiful, like, soft, like, the textures are so good. This is absolutely gorgeous. Jam's been doing some really, really beautiful traditional pieces. I love it. I love to see it. They're very lovely. And thank you so much for sharing these. Look at the details of the texture. The texture! The texture! Jam, your textures are so good. This is absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much for sharing. I love to see it. Once again, if you're not following James B. Barrow, you should do that. And thank you so much again for the raid. I really appreciate it. If you're not familiar with what my artwork looks like when it's done, you're not going to get to see my embarrassing old artwork. You can see my embarrassing contemporary artwork. This is, tell you what, chat. Tell you what, this is Fredward. This is Fredward. Please say hello to Fredward. That's a thing that I did recently. This is actually part of my shop update. He's a little sticky sticker. But Fredward is short for Froggy Edward, of course. And he's a very good boy. I think the other most recent thing that I posted, was was this piece, the medieval Shaw, which was a lot of fun to do, and is also shiny, because I used gold paint. It's like one of those illuminated manuscripts as you do, which was a lot of fun to do, but also a big boy challenge for me because I've never done anything in this style before, but it was a lot of fun. Anyways, but yeah, I feel like I missed a lot of chat, but Rex says, it only takes 3 minutes to use an electric kettle for me. How much faster is it in the UK? It's like 90 seconds. It depends on how much water you put in the kettle, but it's not that. It's very short. That's pretty good, Rex. Also, hi, Rex. But yeah, it's like 10 minutes for Lux, and I would say it's about 10 minutes. My family lives quite near to the part of the country where Lux lives, and yeah, it's like 10 minutes to boil a kettle. It's wild. So they don't have an electric kettle anymore, because it takes so flippin' long. They have a They just have one that boils on the hob, and it takes slightly less than 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And you know how much tea I drink, Jam. This is, like, for the first, like, several decades of my life, that was what I had to deal with time-wise for making a cup of tea, would be, like, a 10-minute wait. It was agony, but I didn't realize that there was an alternative, and that alternative was moving to the United Kingdom where the kettle boils real fast. It's almost like I don't know. Did we design our electricity in such a way that that it meant that, you know, we'd be able to, to make a cup of tea in under 5 minutes? Maybe. Because that does feel like a priority for a lot of people. Whereas I was just watching a video yesterday from America's Test Kitchen, which have a YouTube channel, and they were doing like I don't know why we watch these, because they'll do reviews of like kitchen equipment, none of which are things that my partner or I are ever going to buy, because they're all like North American and American brands. And this one was specifically for drip coffee makers, like those automatic electric drip coffee makers where you just plug it in, you pour water into like a reservoir in the thing, and then you put coffee into a little basket, and then it pours coffee on it, and then the coffee sits in a little carafe that's on a little hot plate. And like my family used to have those for years, like well into the, I don't know, like mid 2000s / 2010s, I guess. But only one person in my family's house really drinks coffee anymore, so they switched to just using like a French press. But yeah, that was just normal for us. But like no one has those here. Nobody seems to have those in the UK. I don't know anyone who has just like an automatic drip coffee maker. I don't really feel like I see them in shops that often. They're just not really a thing here. You just, you know, you have instant, or you get like a fancy espresso machine, or you do like a pour over coffee. Like today I made an AeroPress, and most days I make a V60, or I have a mucka pot and I just do it on the hob. Isn't that wild? I do not miss those automatic drip machines, because man, the coffee that they made was unpredictable and poor. Though I'm given to understand that there are more high-end ones these days that quite possibly produce a much better product, especially if you're using a good coffee. But it still wouldn't be my preference for how I want to make a coffee. For one thing, the coffee carafe sits on a hot plate, so your coffee is just being held at like a warm temperature, which is not great in terms of the integrity of the coffee's flavor, I don't think. I'm going to snooze ads one more time, because I don't want y'all to have to see ads. They will have to run in like 5 minutes, I'm sorry. But anyways, yeah. Kirstar V says, it's true that the kettle takes forever. I can fry some eggs before the kettle's boiling. That's wild! That's so wild. And it's weird, because like that's just what I grew up with, and now I'm so like intensely unused to it that it just seems weird to me. Like, my preferred method of, for instance, like making pasta or rice is to, instead of putting cold water on the hob and bringing it up to temperature on the element, I will boil water in the kettle, and then I will pour the boiling water into the pot, put the temperature on, and then just dump the pasta or the rice in instantly. And it's so much faster to just boil the kettle. But if your kettle takes 10 minutes anyway, it probably doesn't take any faster than it is to boil hot water on the hob for your pasta or rice situation. I don't know. That's like, wow. Like, wow. Like, damn. Anyways. Okay. Sometimes I use my kettle to make instant ramen because the kettle is quicker than heating water up in a pot on the stove. Well, there we go. Oh, interesting. Anyways. I would say now I want to make tea, but I do have 2 cups of tea, so I'm good. What am I cooking for dinner tonight? Am I making fried rice, or am I making spaghetti? I think I'm making... one of the two. I'll have to check with my moderator / spouse if I'm making fried rice and spaghetti. Oh, by the way, thank you very much indeed for the hype train earlier. I missed when it ended because there were too many things happening on my screen. But thank you so much for the hype train, y'all. You are wonderful, beautiful people. Thank you. Yeah, so do you want fried rice or do you want spaghetti?
Whatever you fancy. I'm happy to eat both.
I fancy you, sweetheart, but I can't have that for dinner.
No, that's still apparently illegal.
Fried rice? Fried rice anyway?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, we're having fried rice for dinner. Lux says rice.
Well, there you go then.
Yeah. I'll email you the leftovers, okay? I'm curious now, so I'll time my kettle later, says Rex. Oh, please do this. I remember one time I was on a Skype call with my parents, and I was explaining, like, you know, how much faster it is to boil the kettle here. And so I brought them into the kitchen with me, and I put the kettle on to boil, and I was like, okay, it's ready. And they're like, what? They were looking at me like I was from the moon. Like, it was so funny. It was like, they were like, what planet is this? It was very funny. Anyways, Okay. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try probably get like a somewhat more color and a bit more boldness down this end. And then let it kind of fade a little bit into the hills because they're further away, right? But I still want some nice fresh verdantness to all of it. I love that we're at this age where we where this brings joy, says Lux. Yeah, totally. This is middle-aged people chat. I mean, this is an adult stream for grown-ups, but also specifically this segment this segment is just like it's an adult stream for grown-ups, but not in as much as we're talking about, you know, like spicy adult rated things, but in as much as we're talking about things like, oh, you know, differences between electricity voltage in different countries and how it affects the boiling of kettles and stuff. Like, that's our idea of a good time. And you know what? We're correct. It is a fun time. Jam is lurking. Of course. Jam says, gonna hop into lurk to clear my paints. Hope the painting continues excellently. Thank you so much, Jam. I'm actually mixing some colors on the palette, so we might get some painting done. And of course, the ads are, the ads are undismissible, and I cannot, like, I can't make them not run now. So unfortunately we are about to run into ads, and I've just now am somewhat ready to do a bit of painting. Of course that would happen. Why don't I just very quickly slap down a layer of color in the 42 seconds I have before ads run. I'm just going to take this little area and I'm going to get it nice and saturated with a thin layer of water. And I've got 25 seconds to slop some green paint onto it and call it good. I will tell you all about the paints that we're using today when we come back from this Twitch mandated break. Once again, if you're not familiar with the way that, like, ads run on Twitch, I can't turn off ads. I can just defer them for a bit of time, and then they just run. But I do try and make sure that we're not doing anything while the ads are running. The ads have had all of the coffee and tea that we've been discussing. No snoozing possible. Exactly. But you're not going to miss anything because we're taking a break from stream. So I'll be back as soon as the ads have finished running, and you're not going to miss anything. Please enjoy the BRB song in the meantime. I will see you very, very shortly. Be right back, everyone. Okay, good. Hopefully ads are done. I'm back. Hello. We're back to painting this cozy little scene, hopefully. And hi, everyone. Welcome back. Hopefully I haven't missed anything. What did I miss, chat? It's nice to return. And unfortunately, the thing about this paint is that this paint is... Hey, Dan, welcome in! It's very good to see you. Hello. Dan says, hello, I'm sorry I'm late to see my favorite wrestling streamer, Slammy Cal. Oh, pretzels, that was very silly. Thank you. Hello. You're not late. You're bang on time. I've just come back from an ad break. Anyways, for anyone who's not familiar with the paints that I'm using today, I shall introduce them again. This is the... I don't know if you can see... Come into focus. Come on, there we go. Anyways, these paints come from Schminke. They are from their Aquarelle watercolor. That's like their standard watercolor line, but they are super granulation paints, which means they have been blended with... They are a blend of multiple pigments, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 4 even. And that blend is what produces these really beautiful sort of like color shifting effects. Because some of the pigments will sort of like sit on top of it, especially if you do like a very wet wash of it. Some of the pigments will kind of sink to the bottom and kind of stain the paper in a fairly flat layer. Other ones will kind of form little pockets and sit very unevenly and get into the various nooks and crannies of the paper. And this has a really sort of gnarly texture as a result, and interesting sort of color shifts. And I really like the way that this sort of like green blend does that. It feels very cozy. It feels very cottage core, which I guess is the vibe we're going with here. Anyways, you missed some ads, no big deal, says Stals. Yeah, you missed the ads. Has she been pushing the money business again? I've been trying to push the money business. I did do a shop update at the end of last week. No, that's not it. In case anyone's curious, I do have some new gubbins in my shop and a whole bunch of old gubbins in my shop that's still cool. For instance, this is actually an old piece from about maybe a year or two ago, but it's sold out as a print, and so I decided to bring it back as a... Oh my god, for a second there I thought I accidentally... I legit thought that I just, like, closed the stream application, which may have ended stream if I'd done that. So thankfully that didn't happen. But, this was available as an art print a couple of years ago, and it sold out very quickly, which gave me an indication that people liked it, so I decided to bring it back as a sticker this time, just to do something different with it. But also, I think this design is really, really sweet. It's just a little paper drake. I feel like I want to do some more like fantasy type stuff like that. It's really fun to do fantasy type stuff. I mean, I think most of the things that I do are fairly fantasy adjacent. But yeah, anyways, so that's the thing. That one looks like it's got a hefty dose of ultramarine blue. This is, I think, predominantly our deep sea violet, which is what's PB29? I know that's pigment blue something. Maybe that might be ultramarine. I think it might be ultramarine or possibly French ultramarine. And PBR33, which I'm pretty sure is Potter's Pink. And that will have been blended with a little bit of this one, the Shire Blue, which is green. It has PY159, PB29 again. I think you're right. I think that's an ultramarine. And then PG26. Let me just look up. I'm pretty sure I'm right about that being... Of course, when I Google, the first thing that comes up, it is ultramarine. PB29 is ultramarine blue. The first thing that I look up when I look up PB29 is a postcode in Punjab, and I'm like, nope. But good to know. Apparently, the postcode prefix for Punjab province is PB. Is it a province or a region? I don't know. Anyways, an administrative area of India. Anyways, but yeah, PB29 is ultramarine. Yes, stands of course for peanut butter 29. Anyways, and that's why my husband isn't allowed to use it, because he was allergic. Anyway, sounds tasty, says Dan. Am I right about PBR33? I'm sure it's Potter's Pink, but now it's gonna bother me if I don't check. Oh, it's mahogany brown. Oh, cool. Okay. It's mahogany brown. Never mind. I do also have just a tube of mahogany brown, which is a beautiful paint. And also really sounds like it should be somebody's name. Hi there. My name's Mahogany Brown. What the heck number is Potter's Pink pigment number? PR233. That's why there's the 3 3s in it. Very confusing for my little brain. Anyways. Lux! But also good for you. Stay regular. This segment has been middle-aged people chat. Anyways. Yes. Anywho, apologies for mixing up PBR33 and PR233. My god, they're so close. They're so close. I need to get better at memorizing these things. It is not quite a hyperfixation, but getting close to a special interest for me, or at least an interest of some kind. Anywho, I'm gonna take... I would like, I think, for the bits at the back here to be a little bit more subdued-ish. So I've got a sort of yellowish green here, and then I'm just gonna pull a tiny amount of this like purple. And I'm gonna see what the heck that does. Probably nothing good. Realistically, probably nothing good. Cursed Art B says, pigments are a natural next step into my watercolor special interest, naturally and as God intended. 100%. Absolutely. I feel this on a visceral level. I'm gonna put this piece away because it's getting into my space a little bit much at the moment. But anyways. But yeah, pigment colors, pigment numbers. Would people be interested in just watching me stir some paints together and then like swatch them out? I kind of want to do some experimental stuff on stream, but I genuinely don't know if that would be of interest to anybody except me. But I really want to work up this frog and toad palette that I want to make in order to do some frog and toad colored pieces with it. And for that, I feel like it would be a good use of my time to be able to do it on stream, but then also I don't want to do it on stream if people aren't going to find it interesting and aren't going to want to hang out and chat while I'm doing that. The other thing that I'm hoping to do at some point in the next few weeks is to do that paper test that I've been talking about, because I bought two papers from the same brand, and I'm just really curious to see how they interact with each other, or not how they interact with each other, but rather how they interact with effectively the same painting. But I'm trying to figure out like a representative painting that I think captures the various types of work that I do. So like getting some nice sort of like, you know, sort of wet on wet washy type stuff like we're doing right now. But also some like finer, more little detailed work, shade, you know, like shadows and layers and that kind of thing. And I'm just really curious to see, maybe once I've worked up that frog and toad palette, I can use that to do like an example painting on each of them. But I don't know. I feel like also maybe I want to use a fairly like basic rainbow of colors, like it's just a very clear day kind of landscape, just so they don't just so I can get an idea how like a good range of colors behave on all of these papers, as well as the actual like paint textures and that kind of thing. Because I think all of these papers are good quality. Like this is just like art shop brand paper that I happen to really like. I think this paper is of, you know, like decent quality for me. And I've used some papers that I thought were pretty crappy, some of which were much more expensive than this, in fact. But that I found that, you know, for instance, one of the things that you really want to watch out for with watercolor paper, people are saying yes. Cursed Art Beast says, I have a soft line drawn at trying to make my own paint, but that is just so far. I'm not interested in making my own paint yet with regard to taking like powdered pigments and like mixing them together with like gum arabic and stuff. I'm not there yet. But in terms of just taking tubes of existing watercolors and mixing like set measurements of them to see what the result is, I'm very into that. But I feel you. I've watched before and I'll watch again, says Tals. Okay, we have more than one yes in the chat. That's enough to enable me to do it. So that might be what we do next time then. But I do want to do this paper test as well. But it's been a real interesting challenge trying to figure out what it is I want the content of excuse me, of that piece to be. I don't know. I think maybe, what if I just do like a little creature and a cottage in a little landscape with some foresty stuff, but then also some like sky and hills and things, so that it gives me a lot to like play with. But yeah, oh yeah, what I was saying before, I've had some papers that were like definitely more expensive than this, like, you know, art store own brand paper, which is my go-to generally, that behaved really like poorly, I would say. Where like they they would start to like, what's the word that I'm looking, they'd start to like pill, basically. If you were to like pre-wet the paper and then go over with like a wash or something, they just couldn't handle being as like dampened as this. They would just start like the paper would just start like actually just chewing itself up, which, you know, is not ideal, actually. That's kind of what you don't want, I feel like, from like your art paper. That's not an excellent result, I feel like. But I have definitely had that result, and yeah, not super impressed when that happens, but here we are. Especially when you've got a sketch that looks really beautiful and then you try and paint it out and it just ends up looking like it ends up looking like Garbo, because the paper just chews up, or it just like instantaneously just warps so much that it just looks really bad. That's not a fun result for me, you know. I think to that end, it's probably a good idea to do like just a real crappy first test on a type of paper before doing something you actually care about on it. Just like draw something crappy and paint something crappy. Just do like some swatches and shapes and that kind of thing before committing to doing something really special and important. Like, just in case it sucks, or just in case like you hate the way it's sized, or you hate the way that it's not sized, or anything like that, really. I think it's a smart move to just make sure it doesn't suck. Anyways, I have an Arches travel sketchbooks as cursed art piece that I'm afraid to use. Oh god, that's such a mood. I mean, the only counsel that I can give is just do it. Just do it. Like, I know that like Arches or Arches, I don't know. Arches, anyways, I think they might be French. But anyways, Arches. That's expensive paper, and I've never bought it because it doesn't come in the size that I want. But I also know it's considered by many to be very good paper. That color of hill looks too much like the sky. I think I need to add more yellow to it. I think it needs more yellow. Oh no. Okay, let me just run this over again. Haha. Okay, that's better. Oh, now it looks too much like that one. Ah, shoot. Well, I think it's a little bit sort of deep grayer than that, so it should be fine. I hope. Anyways. More things in like line weight and other stuff will be added to these hills, so hopefully they'll look a little bit better. But yeah, I have art supplies that I have not used. More paints than papers, I think. I have a couple of paints that I'm still kind of, I don't know if I'm ready to use you. Like, oh, where is it? Like this color, because it's so pretty. Don't want to use it. I do have a couple of, I actually surprised myself with how quickly I got over just using the duochrome paints that I have, but I also don't use them very often because they don't display well. They don't display well online. And I kind of, as much as I love using like shiny paints, I also hate how hard it is to get them to display well online, so I don't use them super often. I'm gonna set this to one side and work on the coffee pot for a bit and just let those little nuggets of landscape dry, because I feel like I can't do that much with it at the moment. Anyways, also my voice is going, so I apologize for that. Quinn Gold says, Cursed RVs, try Aussie Red Gold from Daniel Smith. It is the prettiest color I have. I want to get a tube of Aussie Red Gold. It looks so nice. But also I'm trying to be good about not just like buying a single random color that I don't have a specific use for. Because I don't have a specific use for my quinacridone gold, and so I've just never used it. Because I don't have it, like, I don't have a specific project in mind for it. And I feel like I'm more likely to actually use the supplies if I'm like, yes, I know I'm going to use them to do this specific thing, than to just buy a thing because, ooh, it's pretty. Also, you know, monies. I can't be overbuying art supplies as much as it pains me. I have so many paints, but man, yeah, I would like to get Aussie Red Gold. It's very, very pretty. And I am very happy to have this version of quinacridone gold. It's not the original, because we've talked about this before. The original is no longer available. Frowny face. But this is... Supposedly they have enough, so the funny thing about the replacement Quinn Gold from Daniel Smith paints, it's a blend of, I think two different colors, including one color that was also subsequently discontinued, but they claim, apparently Daniel Smith Paints claims that they have enough of that pigment that they should have about 20 years supply of being able to make the paint. But not if I panic buy all of it. Also, I think that color is in a number of their blends. So, as well as being a color in and of itself, it's quinacridone burnt orange, in case you're curious. Rex says, it's the first snow today, and it's a good one. Not a whiteout, but visibility is impacted, probably about 0.3 to 0.5 miles. That feels like a short amount of visibility. Are you in the vortex, Rex? Because I know that there's a vortex apparently. My family is inside the vortex, and they've had some snow. I don't know. That's like 1 kilometer. Yeah. What are distances? I don't know. I grew up in Canada, so it was all kilometers, and now everything is in miles here in the UK, and I'm like, oh, the only miles I understand is O'Brien. Anyways, I don't think so. Just lake effect, says Rex. Fair enough. Like I said, my family are in some portion of a vortex at the moment, so they've got like a reasonable thickness of snow, and they're a bit concerned about being able to get out and drive because I don't think they've had their winter tires installed. I think they were going to do that this week. So, oh beans. That's a thing that the UK does not experience in the way that Canada does. You have to take your car to a garage or dealership or whatever and have your tires changed out for the winter, because all season tires are 3-season tires. If you are driving on like potential ice and snow and stuff, like tires that call themselves all season ain't gonna cut it, right? Like, you need tires that are specifically for snow and ice. They have a different type of grip, and they will keep you from sliding if you brake on a patch of ice. That's not unimportant. And having the wrong tires installed can lead to things like accidents. I get enough snow for it, but I don't do winter tires. Don't tell my dad, Rex. He'll be making worried faces at you. For real. When we get snow here, we usually just wait for it to melt, says Carstar of Bees. I mean, when we get snow here where I live, which is in like, I would say the more northern part of southern England, like, we're not quite in the Midlands, but we're not in the deep south either, you know, that kind of thing. We're in like, yeah, like the northern southern England, if that makes sense. Oxfordshire, if you want to look it up on a map. And I feel like I can be that specific without doxing myself. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so the last 2 years I would say we get like a day or two where it snows. I put on my winter coat, I run outside with my pajam jams on under my winter coat. I frolic, I flap my hands with joy. I take pretty pictures of the snow as much as I can. I enjoy the brisk, bracing air of snowfall. I notice the way it melts as soon as it hits the pavement or the grass. And then it's gone within like a couple of hours. That's generally the snow situation here. It's extremely rare that we have snowfall that's in any way like sustained. And if it is, it's extremely disruptive. Like there's snow that remains on the pavement as it falls and gets all wet and nasty when you drive on it. I'm not leaving the house because for all I know, they'll stop running buses because it's not safe. Because we don't really have, you know, plows and things down here because it's like a once a year phenomenon, if at all. So when there's a tiny amount of snow, infrastructure just grinds to a halt. You're better off staying home. I would do winter tires if I could have a separate set of rims so I could change them myself, says Rex. That's fair. Tires are very important, though. It would definitely make a difference. It definitely does. Especially if you're in, like... If you're in, like, the part of Canada that my parents are, it really does make a difference, like, massively, because it does get very, like, conditions can get very white out, very icy, very scary sometimes, and you want to be prepared for that. Either that, or just, if the weather's bad, stay at home! Rex says, where I live, snow is often measured in feet instead of inches. Yeah, exactly. We don't get that we don't get that here. Technically, latitudinally, I'm more likely, I don't know where you live, don't dox yourself, but being that you're from somewhere in North America, more than likely, I'm actually further north than you. And yet, we are a small island, and therefore our climate is different. I love snow that doesn't overstay its welcome, says Cursed Jar of Bees. Yep, I'm with you, I hear that. I do like the cold winter air. I find it very, like, refreshing when it's, like, just a nice, sunny, partially cloudy, cold winter's day. I like being out in that for a bit. Like, it feels good, and I miss that feeling because we really don't get that here. Like, the brisk cold weather. We get the damp cold weather here, which, like, makes my skin itch and seeps into my bones and my lungs and makes me feel like I'm gonna die. So that's fun. But, yeah. I think my favorite thing is how quiet it is outside when it's snowing. Oh, that is nice. That is very nice. I love when it's just, like, twinkle, twinkle, twinkle. When it's snowing in the evening and, like, you can see the snow sort of, like, twinkling as it passes through, like, the area of, like, a street lamp or, like, outside of a house or something with the lights on, and it goes twinkle, 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 and it's just so magical. Oh, I hope we get some snow this year. I hope I get to see some snow. We did travel back to Canada for a couple of Christmases a few years ago, but we've resolved to not do that anymore because, unfortunately, the snowy weather also means the possibility that there will be a snowstorm on the day that we're scheduled to travel. That happened the last time we did it. And I think that was 2021, 2022, probably 2022, because I think 2021 we were still here. Because I think that was, yeah, I think it was 2022 the last time we did it. Maybe? Oh, I can't remember it. Yeah. Yes? Yeah, it was 2022. Sorry. But there happened to be, like, a big snowstorm in Iceland, and we had a flight that, like, was going to Reykjavik, and then stopping at Reykjavik for, like, an hour and a half, 2 hours for, like, a nice little lunch break, and then we were continuing on to Toronto. And the way that the airline told us that they weren't going to be able to land at Reykjavik and they were putting us on an alternate flight was very, unhelpful. Basically, I just got an email the day before that was like, okay, your flight has been canceled, and then, like, flight confirmation. And it was just like, a confirmation of a completely different flight on 2 completely different airlines and at a different time of day. And I was like, what? What? So that was a little bit scary because I had to go to the airline's website to see that, oh, okay, so there's a massive storm coming, so they're, like, grounding everything going in and out of Reykjavik because it's not going to be safe to fly. Fine. Why didn't you say this in the email you sent me? I was just having a panic attack because I didn't know why my flight was canceled. It was terrible. And then they put us on, like, an alternate flight, but because the flight was really, really full, they had to put, like, my partner and I in different seats in different parts of the plane. And we spoke to, like, at every stage, is it possible to, like, you know, get us 2 seats next to each other? And they were like, no, we can't do it, it's really full, blah, blah, blah. And then they're just like, ask the person when you're getting on the plane. So we asked the person when we're getting on the plane, and he's just like, just ask the person sitting next to you if they want to switch. And we'd spent like 2 hours at this point going through the airport, like, freaking out because we weren't going to be able to sit next to each other. And then when we get on the plane, my partner just, like, asks the man sitting next to him, is like, my wife is, like, 2 rows ahead. Would you mind, like, trading with her? And he's like, no, that's fine. And so I just traded with that man, and I got to sit next to my partner, and it was fine. But that was really scary, and it ended up being fine because the meal was a oh, what was it? It was a vegetarian moussaka, and it was really nice. So, you know, also, obviously, when I book flights and I know there's going to be a meal on board, I book a veggie meal because I don't eat meat. And I couldn't do that on this flight, so I was just like, oh boy, if they serve chicken or beef, I'm stuffed. And then it ended up being fine because it was moussaka and it just had, like, aubergines in it. It was really good. That's a food I haven't had in ages. I should do that soon. Anyways, I brought this out because I wanted to do a little bit of hot shading action on it. But now I'm trying to figure out how do I shade a mucka pot. Rex says tires are the most important part of your car. You could put a Corvette engine into a Ford Fiesta, and it would still change the driving feel and capability less than a top shelf set of tires. Tires are really important. Tires and watercolor paper. Do not underestimate the importance of them because they're very important. I feel that. Sorry to circle back to paint, but here we are. Anyways, I'm a mucka pot enjoyer. I don't know about y'all. I think they're fun. I like using them to make my beverages. This is a weird one to shade just because of the, like, there's nothing in, because this painting is just a picture of a mucka pot. There's not really anything to tell me where the light is hitting it. So I'm not sure where to, like, I'm trying to decide where the light should be hitting it. I don't know. I'm just looking at pictures of mucka pots and the way that the light hits them. Anyways, the mucka pot is an interesting mechanism if you're not familiar, because the water sits in the bottom here, and then there's a little, here in this area here, there's a little basket, that's where the coffee grounds sit, and the basket has a little spout that comes down into the water here. And basically, the water heats up, and as it heats up, it gets pushed up through that little spout, through the coffee grounds, and then in this area here, the top chamber, there is, like, a tall sort of little spout in the middle that's a little sort of column, and then at the column there's a little hole, a perforation, a little hole on either side, and the coffee gets pushed up through that and then out into this chamber that way, through the magic of the things that heating up water does, right? And that gives you a delicious, delicious pot of coffee. It's fun. And it's fun, actually, sometimes if you want to see it happening, to actually just open the lid and watch the coffee, like, bubbling out of it. Also, it's a fairly easy way to make coffee, but there is, okay, you know, here's, this bothers me. I don't know if you've ever, like, experienced or seen, like, discussions of how to use a moka pot before, or, like, tips and tricks on how to get the most out of your moka pot. But this is something that really bothers me, and I've seen this, in several places, and several places that really I feel like should know better, that will tell you that the way that you use a moka pot is, when you're finished with it, you don't clean it, basically. Like, they will tell you not to, like, wash it with, like, dish soap and water. They might tell you to just, like, you know, dump out the coffee grounds and just, like, wipe it out, just, like, rinse it, maybe. But don't, like, clean it with soap. That's stupid. Okay? The reason that that is stupid is that what they suggest that that's doing is that you're seasoning the coffee pot with, like, the oils from the coffee. But that's not what seasoning means either. Seasoning, when you talk about seasoning something like a wok or a cast iron, you know, skillet or something like that, effectively what you're doing, that involves, you know, sort of applying oil to your, like, work surface as well. But what you're doing when you're seasoning something like a wok or a cast iron skillet, you are taking a clean, dry pan, you're taking a very thin amount of oil, and you're rubbing it with a very thin amount of oil. And then you are heating that to a very, very, very high heat for, like, a certain amount of time, and then you're switching that off, and then you're good, right? What that does is, it helps to keep your pan from, you know, sort of like rusting or going off in that way. And additionally, it basically makes it nonstick. You do not need your moka pot to be nonstick. I'm pretty sure that the moka pot is made out of something like stainless steel. It's not going to rust, so you don't need to worry about that. But additionally, you don't need your moka pot to be nonstick. Seasoning it with, like, the oils of previous iterations of coffee that you've made. The thing about the oil that's in, because coffee beans contain oil. A small amount of oil in coffee beans. You might notice this in, like, if you get a very dark roast of coffee and you see that the beans look very shiny and kind of greasy, that's because the longer you roast it for, the more that oil gets expressed out of the bean, right? So coffee does produce oils. And those oils get onto my painting, which is now lightly stained. It's fine. What was I saying? Oh yeah. We're going to move this to one side and work on my other painting for a bit. It is in fact fine. But anyways, it's fine. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So some of that oil does get expressed when you make a pot of coffee. But the thing about the oil that is being expressed out of a coffee bean is that it's quite a volatile oil. It's like, it stales very quickly. It does not stay fresh for very long. Do you really want your coffee to taste of rancid old coffee oil? I don't think that you do. And I don't think that you should. I mean, listen, I'm not your mom. I'm not the boss of you. Maybe that's what you're into. And if that's what you're into, then, like, bully for you, my friend. But, like, I'm not. And I don't think that's a good way to make coffee. That feels like one of those, you know, like, someone told me to do this and I've never questioned whether or not it's actually a good idea, but if you actually think about it, it's a terrible idea. That kind of thing. Shoot, hold up. Okay. Anyways. I imagine it would continually burn on and start breaking off into the next batch. Like, yeah, it's gonna be nasty. It's nasty. You don't want old coffee oils in your new coffees. It's gonna make your coffee taste more harsh and burnt and potentially stale if it's been sitting for a while. Like, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound fun. Why would you want that? Why would you want that? But it's something, you know, saying that, like, you should, you know, like, leave the coffee oils on your pot because it seasons it. It sounds plausible, but if you think about it and you think about what seasoning does and what the oil in coffee is there for, like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. You don't want that. Like, no, that's a terrible idea. But yeah, you season a cast iron after you clean it. You still clean it. Yeah, exactly. You're not leaving the oil that was expressed out of like the salmon you grilled on your cast iron skillet. Like, you don't want that, you know? It's like, did you stir fry some beef in your wok? You're not leaving beef pieces in your wok for your next, for, you know, like when you're gonna make some green beans or something. Like, that's nasty. You clean it. You clean and then you reseason. Like, I don't know, friends. Words mean things, and whoever came up with this convention, and a lot of people just didn't question it. It's like, no, don't do that. Please don't do. Please do not do that. I'm begging you. Your coffee will be so much better if you just actually clean all of the parts of your coffee maker with soap and water every time. Hello. Happy Monday, Ernesto. It's lovely to see you. Welcome in. I hope you're having a lovely day. I'm going to paint in some more of this lovely landscape here. But first, I need some more paint water for no reason whatsoever. I'll be right back. Everything is fine. La, 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 la. Okay. Honestly, I can't believe that doesn't happen more often, but here we are. Anyways, I think chat disconnected at some point, so hopefully I'm still live. I mean, I assume I am because someone just came in and said hello, so presumably everything's fine. Anyways, right, shall we add a little bit more to this landscape then? I was going to do a little bit of this sort of like purpley black here, but I don't think that really works for this scene that we're working on. So let me change it. Okay. I think maybe what if I do like a little bit of a more yellowish patch of land over here. And then maybe a nice sort of bluish hedge there. That could work. I mean, that's just fully yellow now, but maybe, ooh, that, you know, that might be nice. I do like this, which one is this? I think this is desert yellow. I think this is desert yellow is a really beautiful color. I should look up and see what pigments it's made from. Because I do think that's such a fun thing about these paints is that they're all made up of like a blend of pigments, which gives you really sort of like dynamic colors, and it's very fun. But I haven't bought any more of these like super granulating watercolors because I've just gotten into blending my own granulating watercolors with my own choices of pigments, which is also very fun. I can hear you, says Joe. Yay, hi. Hope you're having a good evening. Hello, hello. Oh, this color's so pretty, but actually looking at it now, I think I maybe want to add just maybe some little pockets of greenness into it. I think that could be quite cool. So I'm going to let this hang, but there's really not any greenness in that at all. And I think I want it to be a little bit greener. So I'm just going to pick up a twinge of Shire Blue, which we know is green, because the color, the nomenclature of these colors is funky and silly. There we go. I'm just kind of, there's so much water on this paper, I'm just kind of letting it swirl and flow. I don't want it to be, it doesn't need to be totally even, so I'm cool with that. Okay. Alright. I keep saying okay, and then I continue futzing with it. This is terrible. This is terrible futz behavior. I'm so sorry. Okay, I'm gonna stop futzing. I'm stopping futzing. I'm stopping futzing. Anything else that happens to this paint is purely of its own volition, and I'm just gonna let it ride out. Heck! Okay, I feel like these colors look just a little bit sort of muddy and weird at the moment, but I'm hopeful that when they've all dried and stuff that they'll look really cool and fun. Anyways, I need to let that sit for a minute. So I think what I might do now, I've kind of been on the fence about what I want to do with the color of the house. I think I want the color of the house to maybe be a little bit more in this sort of like orangey range, so it stands out against these like blue, green, yellow hills. So if I give it more of sort of like a warm orangey vibe, I think that could be quite effective. But it's also fairly small, so I think what I should do is use a littler brush for it. So I'm going to pop this big mop to one side. And maybe I shall just employ a little bit of our gorgeous tundra orange and make a nice little orange exterior for our cottage. I don't think I want to use any of like the red pink. I think that's a little too far. I think I kind of want to stay in a somewhat more limited range of basically sort of this set of colors with just a little bit of blue. So I think that's what I'm going to do with that. So let me just very carefully make a start on this, and then I will layer some more color on top of it when we get there. I was also thinking about the roof being like possibly a sort of one of those roofs that's basically got like plants growing off of it, but I think I'm gonna not do that here just because I think that because of like all of the hills and stuff around it, I think that would just blend in too much to the background. And I would like it to stand out a little bit. So I think I'm just gonna have the roof be kind of a brown color. But just different enough to this orange that it's not like samey. I think that could work. I don't know. Anyways. I'm making fried rice for dinner tonight, incidentally, with Brussels sprouts and tofu. My moderator / spouse very kindly picked us up some Brussels sprouts because I thought we had Brussels sprouts, and then it turns out that the Brussels sprouts had other ideas, shall we say. So we no longer have Brussels sprouts. Oh no. So it goes. Alright, that's the little cottage so far. I think that's a cute color. I think it's okay. I hope it's okay. Anyways, and I think maybe if I do like a darker brown for the like roof and like the door and stuff. I think that might. Sledge went all the way to when did he go to Belgium? We've been to Belgium. Did I say he went to Belgium? Brussels sprouts. Jesus. Yes, Tels. He went all the way to Belgium just to buy us some sprouts. And I personally am very grateful because they make the nicest sprouts. Anyways. In all the time that I've spent in my life in Brussels, which is approximately 3 days, never did get to have any sprouts. Unfortunately. Oh well, so it goes. Maybe someday. But, I do enjoy Brussels sprouts. I think you know how some people like absolutely can't stand Brussels sprouts, and some people absolutely adore Brussels sprouts, and I'm very much in the camp of loving Brussels sprouts. And I think some people are like, oh, it's just because you haven't had them prepared correctly. But I do wonder if it's kind of like a genetic thing as well. Because some people find them very, very bitter. I do not find them bitter. And I mean, it's also very possible that, like when you were having Brussels sprouts growing up, that your mummy, like, just boiled them to death. Which was the style at the time. And I tend to like, thinly slice them and stir fry them into fried rice with lots of garlic and soy sauce and ginger and tofu and rice, and it's really, really delicious. But I also like them just roasted or even just steamed with a little bit of butter and salt. Okay, there. I think I like that. I think I'm going to stop futzing. I am in the nope camp. Says Rex. Fair enough. Maybe it's just bitter people like us who like them, says Dan. You know what? I do hold a lot of bitterness in my heart, so that tracks. But, what was I gonna say? Pretzels. What was I gonna say, chat? I forget. But yeah, Tals is very much in the do not like camp. How they are prepared does matter, but even when done well, they aren't very good to me. That's fair enough. I am in the nope camp, says Rex. I will eat all of them for all of y'all because I find them super delicious. But again, yeah, to that end, I do wonder if it's like a genetic thing, the way that like your taste receptors pick up the compounds in them. In as much as like famously, some people like coriander leaves taste, like fresh and delicious, and other people, coriander leaves taste soapy and horrible. Presumably because, again, your taste receptors are zeroing in on different aspects of the food. Similarly for me, I think I've talked about this on stream before, saffron tastes like plastic to me. Instead of making things taste like, sort of indulgent and delicious, if you make a dish or a sweet fancy by adding saffron to it, it's ruined. The absolute sadness in my heart when I ordered a whole bunch of stuff from an Indian sweet shop. And I do really like a lot of the things that they sell, but there was something that I was really looking forward to. I think maybe it was the gajar halwa, which if you've never had it, it's basically the best way to describe it is like carrot fudge, which sounds weird, but it's so good. It's super delicious. But I think that was what they added saffron to, and I was like, no! Because instead of being like this delicious, sort of like fudgy treat, it was plastic tasting to me. No! Sadness. Man, no, I absolutely 100% should not order any Indian sweets, but what if I did, though? There are some very good Indian sweets, is all I'm gonna say. So good. Sad faces. Anyways, I need to paint in this little lump here. So, I need to make a new green. I think I want it to be, since this lump is quite yellow, I want this lump to be much less yellow. So maybe if I just pull out a reasonable portion of that, maybe add a little bit of hue to it so you're a little bit bluier. And then call that goodish. Okay. Hopefully, a little bit concerned about painting in this segment so soon because the other segment next to it is still a little bit wet, but I think if I just leave a little bit of a gap between the two, we should be okay. Oh, good. Someone's being loud right outside my door. I love that for me. Hopefully you can't hear it on stream. La 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 la. Okay, there's a question for chat. Controversial food opinions. Do you have any, and are there any? What are your hot takes about food? I mean, ultimately, it all just comes down to, like, we have different tastes. So, like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Like, it's fine. But, I don't know if any of my food opinions are controversial or any of my tastes are weird. I genuinely haven't the foggiest. But, I do know that certain things I tend to eat funny, apparently. Like back when I could eat croissants, when I wasn't, like, having problems with, like, wheat and gluten and stuff. I would eat my croissant weird, apparently, in as much as the way that I eat croissants is I take the crispy end bits off first, set those to one side, then I take the center portion, I, like, peel the outer layer, like, off of the croissant, starting with the sort of pokey bit, like the bit from the last bit that gets folded around, peel off that bit, eat that bit, then, like, unravel the rest of the crispy outer layer, eat the crispy outer layer, then eat the tender, like, interior flaky layers, and then I eat the two crispy end bits. That's how I eat croissants. Very normal of me, I think. But no, apparently this is weird and this isn't how normal people eat croissants. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with y'all, but it's totally normal to me. Anyways, my hot take, says Rex, is that salty things shouldn't be dipped in chocolate. You know, I understand this viewpoint, and I don't wholly disagree. There are certain things that I do think I've enjoyed in my time being, like, a combination of salt and chocolate, but I think salted caramel and that has kind of gone out. Like, I don't need you to sprinkle, like, a sprinkle of, like, flaky sea salt on my chocolate chip cookie. If I'm gonna do anything to make a chocolate chip cookie fancy, I'm gonna brown the butter, because I think that gives a nice layer of depth. But, you know, there's a little bit of salt in the cookie dough anyways, because that helps elevate the flavors. But I don't necessarily want my cookie to be salty. My hot take is let people enjoy what they enjoy and not enjoy things they don't enjoy. That's a wonderful hot take. I agree with that hot take wholeheartedly. I'm not a fan of, like, value judgments when it comes to the way people eat food. Like, I'll have people be like, oh, you put skimmed milk in your tea? That's incorrect, and you are wrong and disgusting for doing it. Well, get in the bin! No! I like skimmed milk in my tea. Go away! Anyways. I'm not objectively wrong for disagreeing with you. Anyways, Rex is lurking and we're about to go into ads. So, I'm gonna pop up the BRB screen again. You ain't gonna miss anything, and I'll be back very shortly. BRB. I don't think I muted the mic. Okay, well, never mind. You may have heard me talking in the other room with my partner about Baldur's Gate. He's playing Baldur's Gate. He started a new Baldur's Gate save, and he just rescued Gale. So good for him. Apologies. I don't think Sweetheart's back from Belgium, says Dan, and he brought sprouts. Yes, we did hear bits, says Talis. I don't think I doxed myself, but well, I'll check. I will check the VOD afterwards, and if I said anything that is too doxy, I will remove it. But then an edited version will go onto YouTube anyways, if you really want to watch this after the fact. I do have a YouTube channel where I post my stream VODs and stuff. If for some reason you ever want to go back and watch these. And I think I've said before, like, a very small number of people have expressed to me that they did want to. I guess it could be background noise. But it's there if you want it. I have a YouTube channel where I actually make specific purpose-built videos just for that channel, which is there. I'm well overdue for a new upload, and I'm so sorry about that. It's been a few months, because it's been a few months, if you take my meaning. I've been existing in what I can only describe as interesting times. that have made it quite difficult to film. But I am filming something at the moment, and I do have a script ready to go for a second thing. So there will be fresh videos up on that channel soon, I hope. And I hope that y'all will like them. Okay. So I'm doing the roof here in a nice, hopefully nice, like rich brown. I do want it to be different enough that it stands out, but not so much that it just feels like I'm trying to ram every color into this painting. Though obviously I'm gonna add a lot of little sort of like details and stuff into the hills and what have you when we get to that as well. But we're not quite there yet, so no worries. Anywho. Yay! Okay, I think that's cute-ish. I think this is starting to feel like a comfy little landscape. I hope there's so much water on this one that it's like flowing. I don't know if you can see how much it's flowing, but I'm sorry about like the weird reflections it leaves as well, just on like the canvas. But so it goes. Are you dry? Yeah, you're pretty dry actually. You're pretty dry. There are some pockets that got a little bit of paint water on them, but it's fine. It's fine. So I'm going to set this to one side again, and I'm actually going to do a little bit of the shading on this. We're probably not going to go on too much longer. I genuinely thought we were going to finish these today, but it turns out I had a lot of things to say. And that ends up taking up quite a reasonable amount of my time and space. But hopefully that's fine. Hopefully you like listening to things that I have to say, otherwise I assume you probably wouldn't be here. So thank you for being here. It's nice to have you. Anyways. Alright. Just gonna glaze a bit of this with some slightly darker hue. To give it, the feeling of being a somewhat dimensional object. Hopefully that'll work. There we go. And I guess this bit also should darken down this over here. I do have a little sort of reference listing photo from like a kitchen supply shop of a maca pot just to see how the light hits it. But again, there is a weird discourse that's gone around the internet in the last couple of years that basically amounts to this idea that using references is cheating, which is so stupid. Like every artist that you admire and have to study in your like art history class used references. You fool. It's a very normal thing to do, in fact, as an artist, is to look at references and use them to kind of calibrate what you're doing to make sure that you've got a reasonable idea of how X thing is meant to look. It's not cheating. You're not expected to have a fully photographic memory. In fact, my memory is like the opposite of photographic, so if I weren't allowed to work from reference at all, I'd be stuffed. I would be so stuffed. That would be genuinely horrible. And I would have an awful time. So my point is, hooray for references, I guess. What I would say with regard to references, and I think where the confusion comes from, is that it's fine to, like, look at an object, look at a photo of an object, But generally, you don't want to, like, if you're just doing like a study in terms of like just trying to learn how certain things work, learn how to do a specific technique or how to, like, draw a specific thing, as like practice or as like a study, I don't think taking an existing work and attempting to recreate it is necessarily bad. Even like looking at, okay, how did this person like shade in this way? How did this person like use, did they use like underpainting to get, sort of the colors to look like this, yada yada yada. I think that is entirely fine. As like, but that's like sketchbook practice. I think the problem is if you consider using references to be, say, taking someone else's existing piece of artwork, like let's say someone has done a portrait of Anne of Green Gables, and you just copy note for note their portrait of Anne of Green Gables and be like, look at this painting I made of Anne of Green Gables. It's like, okay, well, you're being disingenuous because you copied somebody else's homework. But if, say, if on the other hand you are doing a painting of Anne of Green Gables and you say, look at like stock photos of a person in the pose that you want to draw her in, and use that pose as a reference to get an idea of how the parts of the body work in sort of from that angle in that pose, how the light hits the different, sort of parts of the person, that kind of thing. If you like, take a photo that you took of like a farm and you use that as, like inspiration or to get an idea of like what hay bales look like, and like old farm fences in an old farmhouse, and you use that to kind of reference in your, like, that's fine. Draw how things look without ever looking. Sure thing, internet person says Tals. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's a stupid take. It's a bad take. And it's gatekeepy as well. Like, I'm sorry, no, you're absolutely allowed to use references. You are absolutely allowed to use references. Every artist that you admire used references. Okay? That's just called looking at things. Like, it's fine. I don't understand. I don't understand where in the discourse did that idea come from, because it's very silly and frankly should be ignored because, like, it's wrong. In fact, I really appreciate when people come to me for commissions. I do commissions, by the way. You can get to the commissions tab from my shop. When someone comes to me with a commission, I really appreciate when they give me references to use. Like, that's super helpful to me. Because then I have, like, something to go off of other than, like, the description. If they just say, like, hey, could you do a portrait of my husband, Julian, and our dog, Skippy. And I'm like, okay. And then they don't send me any photos of Julian or Skippy. I'm like, well, I'm just going to have to guess. Here is the most ambiguous looking man I can paint. And the most prototypical looking dog I can think of. And then I find out that, I mean, that's like a terrible drawing time request. You know what I mean? It's not helpful. I would like to see photos to get an idea of what these people and their pet look like in order to accurately render them in a portrait. I mean, it's not going to be like photo accurate because my paintings look like this, but I'm going to get the gist of it. I'm going to try and nail things like their relative skin tone, face shape, body proportions, that kind of, their vibe, right? And if you don't give me any of that, I'm not going to be able to do it good. References are important. Anyways, I think that this coffee pot already looks so much better. Shading is fun. Shading is useful and good. Okay, how are you doing, other painting? Are you still... There's still a puddle here, so I'm having to be really careful. But shall I perhaps drop in Oh my goodness, Jillian Etzel, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. Thank you, thank you. I hope you are having a wonderful day, and welcome. Hello, hello. Thank you very much. Anyways, I'm gonna... Anyways, that's my I was really, I guess I'm not super active in the right online art circles, because I was really surprised when I learned that was apparently a piece of discourse, was like using references as cheating. I'm like, no. Most of the things that you think of as cheating are very, either they're not, or like you're missing a lot of nuance if you think that that's the case. Case in point also, like, most people would consider that if you just wholesale trace someone else's drawing and then color it in and call it your own artwork, like that's cheating. That's incorrect. But is all tracing cheating? No. No, it is not. Case in point. Let's say I want to... Let me grab a new piece of paper. I'm not going to draw on this because it's just the back of an art print, actually. You can buy this art print from my shop, by the way, ! Shop in the chat. Please paint a portrait of my dog. No, you can't see him. Exactly. This is stupid. It's just stupid. Why would you think that? Anyways, okay, let's say the base of this piece needs to be a perfect circle. Can I freehand draw a perfect circle? No, I cannot. Skill issue, I hear you saying. Well, screw you! Anyways. Here, do you want to know how I draw a perfect circle when I need something circular, or even just like a curve or an arch or something in my pieces, and I know I'm not going to be able to freehand it in a way that is as precise as I want it to be in this particular situation? And I draw around it. Right? This isn't the right size. Okay, what other circles do I have on my desk? I've got this paint. It's a different size. I've got this. It's a different size. You know, etc., etc. I've got the lens cap for my art camera. That's a different size. I just look around my desk until I find an appropriately sized circle, and I trace the curve that I need. Because why? Because I suck at freehanding curves and circles, okay? And taking a round object and just drawing around the curvature that I need is me making good use of a tool. It's not cheating. Maybe for you personally, you consider it to be something that you don't want to do as an artist, and that is totally fine. But that's cheating, says Dan. No, it's not. The thing is, I think as a lot of artists, we have like self-imposed rules, like certain things that we don't personally like to do. Like there are things that I don't personally like to do. Generally, if I'm working with, say if I'm working with the Schminke, super granulation watercolors, I like to do all of the colors in the piece from the same set of paints. Not because I think it's cheating to use a different paint set, but I think it imposes a good set of like restriction on the piece. If I'm using all of the same color paint, I know that these are going to go together fairly harmoniously, whereas if I start bringing in like a different, like some of my 1940 set from Choosing Keeping, I don't know if those shades of Gansai are going to go with these shades of watercolor, right? So I prefer to work within the same sort of collection of paints, whether that's a palette that I've made myself, or whether that is a palette that I have purchased. I just prefer that. I think that's nice. But yes, I don't think it's cheating. You know, obviously lots of people mix their media. The whole art medium is mixed media. That's like an entire thing in and of itself. So, you know, okay. I think what I was debating whether to make that path sort of like a grayish path, but actually I think I'm going to make it sort of a more warm toned sort of earth color, so I'm taking a little bit of yellow that I've got here, and I'm actually going to add a little bit of orange to it. And I'm going to see how that looks. Just for a little funky little dirt path. Yeah. Emerging from this little house. There we go. Delightful. But yeah, what's cheating in terms of art, I think, is very self-imposed. Obviously, like, actual plagiarism is super bad. I saw yesterday that there was a line of pajamas being sold at, like, a store in the States that were based on the new Wicked film that's coming out. But number one, they stole the design from, like, an independent queer artist, which is very uncool of them, and just, like, stuck it on some pajamas. But I also don't know if they fully understood the significance of having a pair of, maybe this has something to do with the movie, I don't know, but a pair of green-handled scissors and a pair of pink-handled scissors, which obviously represent the, like, the pink character and the green character, but two intertwined scissors like this. Do I need to explain why I feel like the makers of the pajamas selling that in, like, Target or whatever maybe didn't understand the significance of that design? Because I think it was implying something about the two characters of the movie in ways that how shall I listen? When two ladies love each other very much, it's lesbian sex. Anyways, but that was very horrible for the artist, because, like, having your art ripped off by a big retailer is just, it's so crappy, and it's so frustrating how often it happens. I'm friends with some artists who have significantly larger audiences than me, and regularly have to, like, report stuff being sold on Etsy by, like, you know, terrible drop shippers and that kind of thing that have just, like, plastered their design or, like, made a tiny change to their artwork and then put it onto, like, a phone case or whatever. It's only happened to me once or twice that I know of, and when it has happened to me, it was on, like, AliExpress. And let me tell you, trying to file, like, this person stole my artwork report on AliExpress is so difficult, or at least it was at the time, so difficult. So, like, opaquely difficult. There's a lot of paperwork that there are not English translations of, and a lot of questionable, like, they wanted to, like, basically I ended up not signing any of the paperwork and just not going through with the claim, because I was like, hopefully no one is going to buy this anyways. This listing that had my stolen artwork on it. Because honestly, the paperwork that they had you sign to, like, confirm that it's you and that you are the owner of this like, design and yada 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 was so full of, like, legalese, and some of it was not translated into English, and they wanted you to basically send them your soul, and then they might take it down. Like, it was crazy. I should be able to just say, like, here is my website with that art on it and the timestamp that it was produced. This is my artwork that I made. And that should be enough. But apparently, no, it's not. Anyways, Kirsta, I'm so sorry. That being said, this is an adult stream for grown-ups, so if you didn't want to hear about why a certain craft supply implies some fun activity between grown-ups, I'm so sorry, but also this is an adult stream for grown-ups. Anyways, Kirsta RP says, I would be honored if a learning artist ripped my art off to practice with and learn from, but if someone was trying to make money with my art, I would lose my mind. Oh, 100%, absolutely. Like, if someone, you know, like, especially like if like a member of this community was like, hey, I've just started drawing again for the first time in like 25 years and I wanted to practice, so I tried drawing a little picture of Terry the Forg Mage and then showed it to me, I'd be like, oh my god, that's so cute and good, and I'm so happy that you did that. I am honored. Amazing. Like, do I think that my art is a good, like, teaching tool? Probably not. But on the other hand, like, damn, what an honor. But, you know, if they were then like, okay, I'm gonna take this design and I'm gonna sell it on a sweatshirt that I'm gonna sell through Redbubble, I'm gonna be like, whoa, hold your horses. I already make zero money from this. Please do not make money from the thing I can't make money from. That's not fair. Oh, yay, welcome home, Rex. Hello. Ooh, starting the kettle in a moment to time it. Okay, we have to stick around at least long enough to find out how long it takes for Rex to boil the kettle. This is exciting. I am concerned that there isn't enough contrast between these hills, but maybe they can just be fairly low contrast hills. Maybe that's fine. Like, maybe that's actually okay. But, thinky thoughts. Having thinky thoughts. Okay, first of all, I feel like this little lump is not interesting enough, so I'm going to overlay some additional color on top of it and hope that that makes it more interesting. First of all. Second of all, I'm going to be adding in some, like, I'm going to improvise some trees in here someplace. Oh my god, your kettle does what, Rex? I'm sorry. I'm gonna read this out verbatim because I know what it meant to write, and autocorrect did you a real dirty. Because what Rex posted was, my kettle shits itself off, but hits a boil before that. I'll time it until it shuts off. I think it meant my kettle shuts itself off. Thanks, autocorrect. I really hope that your kettle doesn't shit itself. I did once have a kettle that we ended up having to bin, because any time that it was plugged in, the rest of the electricity in the house shut off. I don't know what was wrong with it, but it was very dead. So, yay. Anyways. Kerstar V says, maybe glazing another layer on top of the closer hills would give them enough contrast and help the lighter ones look further away. I agree. There are going to be, again, sort of additional elements. I can't do anything with this layer because it's still wet in places. But I can potentially add a little bit. I like the way that the color looks here, but I do think that maybe if I just let it be a little bit bolder. I was thinking the very same, my friend. So I think that is what I'm going to do. So, gonna grabbeth a little bit of this blue that's green. Shire blue. Pfft. I wonder what Shire green looks like, though, that being said. What sort of a green is Shire green? Because I assume if this is Shire blue, then there must be a Shire green. Okay. Trying to take a fairly light hand with this because I don't want to futz with it too much. Such a weird shape. But here we are. And I didn't give myself enough paint. Oh no. Okay, I think this should be about enough. That's giving it a little bit more depth. I also think it looks less I think the way the color is blooming is less interesting now, unfortunately. Maybe if I just get messy until it looks good again. Sometimes you gotta. Oh yeah, that's doing something fun. Cool. Plap. Okay. Yeah, that kind of killed some of the dimensions, so I basically had to put it back. But I think that's fixed it. Okay. Anyways. Now this one looks really deep. And that doesn't look deep enough. But again, it's still wet, so I can't futz with it yet. Anyways, so we might have to come back and finish this next time. Oh no! I was going to do something else next time. Next time I was going to mix paints! So we can finish this and then we can mix paints. It probably isn't going to take an entire stream's worth of time anyways. But I've run out of time because I have to go cook dinner. So, I'm going to call it there for today. I hope you had fun. I had fun. This is a wacky stream. This is quite a chaotic stream, I think, considering the fact that we were doing very cozy artworks. But I think they're getting there. I think if I glaze this with like yellow, I think that would work really well. I think that would be really nice. Decided to race Rex 1 cup, aka 250 milliliters, 40 seconds to kettle shutoff, says Tiles. Yep, 45 seconds, sorry. Yep, sounds about right. These paints are just lovely, says Cursed Jar of Bees. I love these paints so much. So much, my friend. Very much I do. I think they're very, very fun. What is the word I'm looking for? Yes. I was going to refer to you as my apian friend, and then I had like a brain fart, and I was like, is that the word that means pertaining to bees? Yes, it is. Anyways. But yeah, I think we're going to call these there for today. But I am mindful of the fact that I want to know, before we go, I want to find out how fast Rex's kettle took to boil. I don't know what time Rex started boiling the kettle. But I'm so curious. So very, very curious. Oh, should excuse. Sorry. But, yes, anywho. 45 seconds to boil a cup of water. That sounds about right, I reckon. Here. Whereas, again, where my parents live, it's like 10 minutes. It is. Oof. 4 minutes, 24 seconds for 1 liter. Okay. Okay. That's not as bad as my parents' house, it has to be said. How strange. Anyways, I love that for you. I think also... Oh, doesn't elevation affect these things in some ways? I feel like it does. I don't know how, but I feel like it does. Anyways. Oh, excuse me. But most definitely it does take longer in North America to boil a kettle than it does in the United Kingdom. Elevation affects the temperature in which boiling occurs. Ah, yes, of course, thank you. So once again, would that affect boil speed? I don't know. I don't know how big the difference is. Yeah, the higher elevation will lower boiling temps, so presumably faster to boil. How does that affect how one makes tea? I don't know. I don't know how far I am from sea level here. I feel like, I mean, this is quite a hilly area, so I don't actually know how I can, I don't know if the internet will know this. I live in a very hilly area, so, it's hard to say. Right, well, the nearest named hill to me, which is probably somewhat similar in elevation to where I am, is... Oh, please tell me how many... Just, yes, okay, great. It was
Attention.
used by...
Twitch user Sammy Kelch.
Shoppers.
Hello! Oh, Hackroll. We are leaving soon, but I will stick around to say hello. Welcome in, Waddle. How was your stream? What'd you get up to today? It's lovely to see you. Lovely. And thank you so much for the follow, Waddle. Welcome in. Let me get a shout out for you in the chat. How are you doing? What were you up to today? Were you doing some art? I'd love to hear all about it. For anyone who's just coming on the raid, hello, welcome in. My name is Twitch user Sammy Kelch. I'm a variety streamer. I do cozy art streams on Monday and most Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Fridays and every once in a while on a Thursday if I'm feeling extra spicy. Yay, you're still going, says Moriax. I was very near to finishing. I got distracted because I wanted to see how many meters above sea level my location is, because we were talking about the rate at which water boils, and I got distracted. And it turns out that the Wikipedia entry for the nearest hill to me doesn't tell me, but it also it does tell me something to do with the English Civil War. So, like, I guess that's neat. According to this random website, I'm about 310 feet above sea level, give or take. Again, this is a very hilly area. I'm in a very hilly neighborhood, but I'm close to the top of the hill in my neighborhood, so... anyways, about 300 feet. But, yes. According to some websites, says Rex, I am about 600 feet above sea level, and London's about 30 feet. Fair enough. Anyways, Waddle says, oh, you're heading out, that's alright. I was doing art, I was working on finishing a moss dragon rough. Ooh, then I was doing light table transferring with microns too, a nice piece of paper. Oh, I love a good micron. So very busy day today. If there's anything that you would like to share with the class, you are very free to whisper a link in my direction, and I'd love it to share it with everyone. I wonder if we both went to the same some website, says Rex. I think it was like Mapcarta or something yeah, mapcarta.com. Shrug. Anyways. Yes, Waddle, if there's anything you'd like to share, you're more than welcome to do so. In the meantime, I will introduce what some of my art looks like when it's done. Because it looks better than this because it's done at that point. Though I guess your mileage may vary as to whether you consider this better. This is a piece we did a few weeks ago for somewhat Halloween themed. In as much as the ink is werewolf blood. And I drew a werewolf and a vampire bat who are dating. But yes. Mine was whatismyelevation.com. What a wonderful website. I'm glad that exists. Anyways, I think there is a YouTuber that I watch sometimes who will sometimes visit like the highest elevation, but in like silly places. He's like, okay, let's go to visit the highest mountain in the Netherlands, which, as you can imagine, is a very gentle hill. Oh, goodness gracious. Anyways, once it's fully inked, I'd be happy to share for sure. Yeah, no worries at all. All of the hugs. These are so adorable. I love your watercoloring. Oh, thank you so much. This is a medieval illuminated piece I did a little while ago. It's probably still negative elevation, says Rex. Yeah, absolutely. The Netherlands is wet and canal-y and flat, which makes it a really nice place to visit if you want to walk a lot, because it's very walkable for that reason. Anyways, but yeah, that's the kind of thing that I do. Let me get another shout out for Waddle in the chat, because I can do 2 shout outs if I want to, and I do. There you go. If you're not following Waddle Art, you can go do that right there. In fact, I'm going to think much better. Anyways, but yeah, thank you so much for the raid. I really appreciate it. These are the pieces we've been working on today. I've been using a selection. This isn't one of their officially sanctioned like palette sets, but I the 5 paints that I own from Schminke's Super Granulation range, namely Deep Sea Violet, Shire Blue, which is green. It's like the same color as this. The name is nonsense. Desert Yellow, Tundra Orange, and Galaxy Pink, I think? Is it Galaxy Pink? I gotta look it up again. Galaxy Pink, yeah. Anyways, so they're granulating watercolors, so they're made with like a blend of pigments that tend to separate out when you use a lot of water, which makes for some really fun effects and stuff. Like, get a load of this absolute gradient down here. It's very unfinished. It'll look better when it's done. At least this one's got some shading on it. And some night sky, which is also very unfinished. But you get the idea. Anyways, Sammy's using a rogue unapproved palette because she's a rebel. Hell yeah, I do what I want. Majorly appreciating lovely artist friend. You're a lovely artist friend. Thank you very much indeed. I do appreciate it. And I do appreciate being entrusted with your wonderful people as well. I hope I've given them a pleasant place to land. But yes. Rex says America hired the Netherlands to fix New Orleans flood barriers after Hurricane Katrina. Honestly, not surprised. They are very used to very flat sea level conditions. So it's unsurprising. A Cursed Jar of Beasts says, I think Tundra Orange is my favorite from my super granulators, is my go-to for painting sand. Ooh, yes, I can see that. I mean, this cottage over here is Tundra Orange, and it's such a beautiful color. I think this is mostly Tundra Orange as well, like the little wooden handle. It's such a beautiful color. I love it. I love it. Desert Yellow, I think, might be my favorite of the set, but I don't know because they're all really good. Anyways, Waddle says, make it your thing, and that thing will make it. Have a great rest of your day, too. I need to skedaddle to rest with major hugs. Oh, have a wonderful, wonderful de-stream decompression session. And thank you so much again for the raid. I really appreciate it. And on that note, I think I am going to end it now because I have to go make fried rice. Oh my goodness. So I'm probably going to raid and dip fairly quickly as well, in fact. But let's see. Who have we not raided in a little while? And just go say hello to them. But hopefully someone will understand if I have to run away. Let's go see. Let me just make sure that this person isn't also just about to finish, but it's okay if they are, obviously. Yeah, let's see what they're doing. Oh, they're just doing some artwork. Yeah, let's go say hi to Pop. And I will be back on Thursday finishing this and then maybe doing some fun bad paint science, which is my favorite. I will bring out the scales and we will be measuring things in fractions of grams. And my computer is going haywire because it gets real grumpy with me when I try and do things while I'm streaming, because it's not very powerful, I think. But I'm popping a generic raid message in the chat with some little ananas popping in to say hello. And thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out. Thank you to Jam and to Waddle for the raids. I do appreciate it. I had a really nice time, and I hope that you did too. We got quite a lot done, actually, all things considered. Not quite as much as I would have liked, but never mind. Some of that simply boils down to waiting for paint to dry. And so it goes when you're working with some very wet watercolors, which we have been, so it's okay. Yes. I'm going to be back on Thursday. And I hope you have a good week in the meantime. I'm going to try and do the very same myself. I'm hoping to get some sewing done tomorrow and possibly some other bits that I need to get done off-stream artwork type stuff, you know, that kind of thing. It's going to send us in a raid. Shoot. Okay. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Good night. And good luck.